Hi, I'm Lisa from Trails Edge Astrology, and this is your 2024 astrological forecast for busy people, which means I'm going to try and do it reasonably quickly. So, a little bit about me. I am an astrologer in Central Illinois. I practice natal astrology, which means I look at your birth potential, the potential that comes through in your birth chart, and how it relates to the energy in the air at the time we're talking. So, what potential you have. I'm a Western astrologer, which means I align my astrology with the solstices and equinoxes rather than the lunar cycles. Some astrologers align differently, but that's how I do it with the solstices and equinoxes as a Western astrologer. I use modern and traditional techniques. So there are various ways to do astrology. And so I use a variety of techniques. And I tend to do psychological astrology, which means that I look at how the energy is going to show up for you and invite you to think about how you want to work with it. Oops. So tonight, I want to draw your attention to a month-by-month guide that I have put together for you at lisamerrifield.com/astromuse. If you would like it, please go grab it there. It gives you month-by-month overview of what I think is going to happen. I'm going to do a really quick overview of what I think is useful about astrology and what is not useful about astrology. Just so you can think about how I'm thinking about it and how you might use it in your life. Then we'll talk about 3 big themes for 2024 that I see happening and how they may show up for your chart, some other dates that are important, and some resources. So that is our evening. So what's astrology good for? Ultimately, astrology is good for confirming what you already know about yourself. So frequently when I do readings for people, I will say, hey, like your chart shows me that this is really important to you. And they'll either say, yeah, it is really important to me. Or a lot of times they say, it is, but I'm afraid to say anything. Or I've been really feeling like I wanted to do this thing, but it's troublesome. It's scary. And so ultimately that's what astrology is really excellent for, is helping you confirm your inner wisdom. Astrology also is really excellent at identifying patterns. How do things show up in your life over and over and over again? And how do you want to work with them? So it's really a helpful tool. Like when this transit came around last time, what did I do? And how do I want to do it differently and better this time? And then finally determining timing. So if you're going through a rough patch of time, we can frequently see that in the astrology, and we can tell you when it's going to end. Or if you want to do something, if you want to start a business, or you want to go on an adventure, we can look at the chart and we can say the timing is really good here to do that. So those are the things I think astrology does well. I don't think astrology is good at telling you what you should do. I believe very strongly that you have free will and you should exercise that free will. And I should not tell you how to uh, engage or how to do anything. I can tell you where the energy is, where the openings are, and where the closed doors are, but ultimately you get to decide how to live your life, and no astrologer should tell you differently, or anybody who's practicing mystic arts. Nobody should tell you differently. A way I like to think of it is astrology is the weather, but you are ultimately the gardener. So astrology is not good for that kind of definitive kind of thing. Ultimately, you get to make your own decision. You are the captain of your own ship, to use all of the metaphors. So when I think about astrology and planning for the next year, I first think about alignment. I look at where those doors are opened. Where is the opportunity in the coming year? And where is it not? So if there's a year where there's a particular push towards career, okay, then let's do that. Or if there's a year where it's about some like digging deep into psychological healing, let's do that. So astrology and looking at a year ahead can really help us figure out how to align with energy. And then we can plan. I mentioned that astrology is really good with timing. So we can plan how we want to lay that out. If the chart is telling us there's a lot of opportunity for like new education and new learning, and we've been wanting to go back to school. Like that's the opportunity, but you got to plan for that. You got to apply, you got to, make sure you know where you want to go, all of those kinds of things. So we align, we see where the energy is, we make a plan, and then I really believe we can co-create. I believe that we can work with the universe, and that the universe is here for our highest and best interest, and that if we align and if we plan, that we can really create our destiny, that we can really make things move. So sometimes we'll see a difficult transit coming up in somebody's chart, and when that happens, I always say, like, you have the opportunity for self mastery here. What do you want to do? You probably know there's something you need to be working on. How do you want to work on it? What do you want to do with it? And the universe does align. Sometimes bad things happen. Sometimes you get crosswise in other people's stories. All that stuff is also true. And there are a lot of times when, if you set the wheels in motion, if you align, if you go with the flow, if you will, that you can really co-create the magic that you'd like to see in your life. All right. So 3 big themes for 2024. The first one is about transformation and regeneration. Pluto is our planet of transformation. Pluto encourages us to dig deep, look beneath the surface, and really, really understand the power dynamics and the structural integrity and what we really, really want. If we have Pluto transits in our life, it helps us be more authentically who we are. So starting in 2022, Pluto has been transitioning between starting in 2023, Pluto started transitioning between Capricorn and Aquarius. And so it's at really, really powerful degrees, and it's really opening closing some chapters and opening some new chapters. So starting in 2008, Pluto went into Capricorn. And since then, in our society and in our lives, we probably have been working on some structural changes in some way. We've been finding things that don't work as well as we thought they did, or as well as we wanted them to. And we have been looking at how to shore up those systems. So it could be about traditions, it could be about leaders or role models, it could be about literally the basement in your house. It could be any of those kinds of things, but probably somewhere in your life you have been working on some of that, or people around you have. So between 2024 and 2043, we're going to see a shift. So between 2008 and now, Pluto's been in Capricorn. Between 2024 and 2043, Pluto will be in Aquarius. And in between 2023, 2024, Pluto is going to go back and forth between Capricorn and Aquarius, finishing up those Capricorn stories and starting these Aquarian stories. And so Aquarius is about innovative thinking. It's about working within the structures, those Capricornian structures, working within those structures to make them more ideal, to think about what really is the most just and the most equitable and the most liberating way to work with a situation or a problem. Aquarian energy is also a little bit more analytical and a little bit more detached. So that might help us figure out how to navigate the path forward. Oops. So how's this going to show up for you? So remembering that your chart is complex, and this is way too simple, but hopefully it'll give you a little bit of a vision. So if you have your sun, moon, rising, Venus, Mars, or Mercury in any of the signs I have listed here under these columns, you will probably feel this energy pretty strongly in that area of your life. So, and if you don't know all your placements, no worries. Think about your sun, moon, rising. Just those 3 will take you a long way. So with this transformation, I have caterpillar to butterfly written for Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, and Scorpio. So at some point in the next 20 years, this transformational energy is going to really hit home for you. if you have strong placements in one of those signs. And so, so it's really an invitation, not always an easy invitation, but an invitation to think about really digging deep. Um, a caterpillar can't see themselves as the butterfly, um, but that potential is there. So, so if you are an Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, or Scorpio over the next 20 years, you may have some tough times. And I will tell you, I'm a Capricorn sun, so I have been through this really strong, um, strong Capricorn to butterfly, or I'm sorry, caterpillar to butterfly energy. Um, it was hard. I never want to do it again. And I'm so very glad that I did. That's the reason I'm here talking to you today as an astrologer, is because of that energy. So it's very powerful. Um, and I think these signs are gonna be front and center at the party. Um, it's 20-year transit. It's not going to happen quickly. You may be feeling it, you may not yet. Um, but if you have placements in those signs, I think it'll come, and it will bring some beautiful things. It will be hard work, but it will bring some beautiful things. Um, if you have strong placements in Gemini, Libra, Sagittarius, or Aries, I think that this energy is going to smooth some paths. It's going to let you move forward in a way that you haven't been able to. And um, Capricorn and Cancer, I may, I probably should revise. Is this really going to impact you? It's been impacting you since 2008. So at some point, if you've got those placements in Capricorn and Cancer, you've been through this. So when Pluto finally moves into Aquarius for good in 2025, that should alleviate some of that. And Pisces and Virgo, I think, are not going to be as directly impacted by this energy. So the second transit that I think is really amazing is coming in April. April is going to be a really, really impactful month, and we're going to have a lot of opportunity to do that co-creation, to really put out in the world what we want to do. So when Jupiter meets Uranus, it is about breakthroughs and illuminations. Throughout history, when these two planets have come together, we have had huge breakthroughs. So they meet throughout the chart every 14 years, which is fairly common, but they only meet in a particular sign every 84 years. So I might have that timing a little bit wrong. 1941 was the last time they met in Taurus, which is what they're going to do in April. And in 1941, we had the somebody thought of the Big Bang Theory. Like that's when that idea came about as to how the universe was created. So that breakthrough scientific revelation. We got color television in 1941. So the idea that the technology could be used to enhance our lives in that way. Most of us still have a television, or watch shows on computers or phones. That all came out of that 1941 energy. John Lennon was born around then. He was born with that potential energy in his life to really transform art and music. So, so it's really it's a cool and amazing energy, and I think any astrologer you listen to, like, this is the transit we're super excited about this year. This is the one where we're like, work with this, figure out what it is you want to liberate in your life. So here are the things to look for. Look for surprising resolutions to problems, things that you didn't see coming, but take care of whatever's been bugging you. Look for some infectious optimism where you're just excited about making something work and something happen. Eureka moments, collective individual awakenings. So there's the potential for just lots of exciting opportunities to come about. We will really feel this energy. We're probably already feeling it. You might already be feeling like, I want to go in this direction. I'm starting to feel like this itch to like explore this thing that's been interesting to me, but I haven't taken the time to really go to, that I think could really transform, how I live and how I think. So so that's the potential. So we're probably already feeling it. We probably will be feeling it all the way through the end of the summer in one way or another. So it's a slow moving transit. It will help us put some things together. When Jupiter meets another planet, Jupiter is about abundance, but it can also be about excess. It can also be about overdoing. And so that's the one caution with this transit is don't bite off more than you can chew. Sleep on it, make sure that whatever you're engaging in is actually doable, and you're gonna have fun with it. You're gonna want to do it and like it. Um, so yeah, lots of fun in the spring and lots of opportunity to just see what comes into your mind, see what kind of new opportunities either show up or you want to invite in. So how's it going to show up? If you have personal planets, Sun, Moon, your rising sign, Mercury, Mars, or Venus in any of these signs, it will likely show up in these kinds of ways. Home run, like hitting you in a really, really positive way. Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo, Pisces, and Cancer. So any of those personal planets in those signs, this energy is really ripe for you to act on. Um, this is good, but it's a lot. So forward motion, potential to work with it, but it might feel a little overwhelming. Gemini, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. So those are the signs that some of that thoughtful co-creation might be really helpful for. And then the signs that I think will be less directly impacted by this are Libra, Sagittarius, and Aries. It's not that they won't be impacted, they totally will. And your chart is complicated and you have planets in all kinds of spaces and signs. So so you will feel it if you're a Libra, Sagittarius, or Aries, but you might not feel it as directly as somebody that this is hitting on target, like a Taurus, where this is coming together in that space and time. This will really be impactful. So that is the second transit that I'm super excited about. The third one is about finding your heart's desire. And this is happening in the fall of 2024. So Mars will be retrograding through Leo between it will be in the space of time. It's not retrograde this whole time, but it's in this space of the sky between October 2024 and May of 2025. So that's a long, long time for Mars to be in a placement like this. And so when Mars is stopped in a place like this, it really lets us dive in. It's in Leo, so it's a very heart-centered kind of space. And we'll feel it really, really directly, depending on where our placements are. Mars retrogrades can be frustrating. Well, we'll talk about that in a second. So when we're thinking about this fall, so between about October and the end of the year, I encourage you to think back to how you felt in the summer of 2023. At that time, Venus was retrograde in the same spot in the sky. So if changes in your relationships came up, or changes in your values came up, or changes how you want to spend your time, money, and resources, if that kind of stuff came up for revision, we might see it again, see the next part of the story. There's just going to be a lot of energy in this part of the chart. I will also say, if you are a Leo or an Aquarius, or if you have one in your life, please give them extra hugs. This is a sensitive part of the chart, and we all may feel a little prickly when this Mars retrograde comes to pass. So this fall, when Mars is retrograde, we may feel frustrated. Mars is our planet of action. It is the planet that allows us to enact our will. And when it's stopped in the sky, the energy is asking us to rethink how we act, rethink how we love, rethink our heart's desires, how we act on our heart's desires. And that's good. We can't go forward 24 hours a day. We can't, we can't move we need sleep, we need rest, we need rejuvenation. And that's what Mars retrogrades are asking us to do. And it can be frustrating because that's not how our society is set up. So in the fall, think about if you're feeling frustrated, reflect on that and think about maybe slowing down and feeling into what your soul is trying to help you achieve. Plans can go awry when planets are retrograde, particularly a Mars retrograde. Um, 2 step forward, 1 step back, or 1 step forward, 2 steps back. So things can get reversed during retrograde. So that can be frustrating as well. But just be aware that that is a possibility. And then particularly at the end of October, beginning of November, I think there's a lot of potential for some tempers to flare, for people to really be frustrated with this and want to move forward. So again, just fair warning, be kind to yourself, be kind to others during this energy. So I recommend looking for an inner Zen place or an outer Zen place, someplace you can retreat and kind of get away and reflect and rejuvenate and release whatever's coming up for you. You'll probably be looking for a balance between standing up for yourself and letting others walk all over you. There's a balance point there without, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater kind of thing. It's not one or the other. You don't have to be all me or all them. It can be a balanced place, and we're going to be asked to look for that. The thing that I think we can all do that will really help us is think about productive outlets for our energy. So Mars wants to move, and the energy in the universe is not about Mars necessarily moving. It's about Mars reflecting. And to do that, I encourage you to think about physical and creative outlets for that energy. Is there movement you can do? Is there art? Is there dance? Any of those kinds of things. What can you do to move the energy in a way that releases it from your body and lets you not be as frustrated with not moving forward on maybe the thing you want to move forward on those Leo things, but lets you process it. All right, so in terms of how this is going to show up, Leos, Aquarius, Taurus, and Scorpios may have a rough fall. This might hit pretty hard for you. Remembering that we have complex charts and we all have free will. So you might be a Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, or Scorpio and not feel this terribly significantly because of other extenuating factors. But know that there's the potential there, and so this fall, be really kind to yourself. A little more productive, a little more reflective and retrospective for Sagittarius, Aries, Gemini, Libra, Cancer, and Virgo. It might still feel like a lot, but I think it's going to flow a little bit smoother than the Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, and Scorpio signs. And then this is likely to show up less directly for Capricorn and Pisces, although it might. Again, your chart is complicated, and there are lots of moving pieces, and the planets talk to each other in different ways. So this is a high level, my best guess, knowing that you are a unique individual, and it's a lot more complicated than this. All right, so let's talk about a couple other notes to date. Or other dates of note. There we go. Before we finish, here are the dates for the Mercury retrogrades. You hear a lot about Mercury retrogrades. So Mercury is our mental process, the way we communicate. It's our cars, it's travel, it's technology. And when Mercury is retrograde, just like when Mars is retrograde, we're being asked to slow down and review and revise and rethink. And so these time periods, you are encouraged to pause and to not barrel forward and to really slow down and double check and make sure that things are going your way. And if Mercury is pull some tricks on you, the invitation is to roll with it and to understand that there's a lesson to be learned there. For example, This is, I think, the third time I recorded this. The first time I did it live with a group of people, and all of them showed up on the recording, and I didn't want to like advertise who was necessarily in the session. Um, the second time I got halfway through and started coughing. So here's the third time through. We're in the middle of Mercury retrograde at the moment. So that's how it's showing up. And I know that it's because I'm trying to do this too fast. I'm trying to get it done for you. So uh, so I'm slowing down and trying to do it right. So those are the kinds of things that can happen during Mercury retrogrades, and best to appreciate and to roll with the punches. Mercury is a trickster. Mercury likes to often, kind of shake things up and make you do things in a different way. Other dates to think about are the eclipses. So twice a year we have what we call eclipse seasons, and when an eclipse is in the sky, when we see an eclipse, we know what's happening. But at least before I started studying astrology, I didn't realize eclipses happened this often. Again, they're not always visible everywhere all at once. So when eclipses happen, they generally herald big changes. Um, things that have been stuck become unstuck. Things really, you can time when with eclipses pretty well depending on how they're showing up in your chart. If you're having an impact with an eclipse, you can really you can really do some timing techniques with that, and think about like, what has the potential, how do I want to co-create with this. um, so March 25th and April 8th are the spring eclipses. For those of us in central Illinois, or really through the central part of the country, we will be able to see this eclipse. um, it will cross a similar, it's coming through the country in a different direction, but it will cross through southern Missouri and southern Illinois, uh, which is where the eclipse of 2017 came in. So I'm, at least for us, I'm really excited about this eclipse. And it's just a couple weeks before that Jupiter Uranus conjunction that I mentioned as being such an exciting opportunity. So I'm really like let's all dig in and manifest some stuff around then. Um, I think there's some really nice potential. And then in the fall, and remember we have that Mars retrograde in Leo in the fall. We have eclipses on September 17th and October 2nd, and so that could, I mentioned that there might be some heated energy, particularly in October and November, but around this time. So so something to look for and to think about how you might want to work with. So just those are just dates to keep in mind. So then again, if this is interesting to you, and if you want my thoughts on month by month, what could be happening, you can find them at lisamerrifield.com/astromuse. And this is just a short list. It's reasonably brief. So I just give you a paragraph. I give you a little bit of an astro invitation, like how you might work with it, what you might do with it, and then some of the challenges that I think are important to think about. I also do a daily 1-minute astrology um, on YouTube. Well, I put it on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. So whichever platform you prefer, you can find it there. If you just want 1 minute a day with some of the energy you might want to work with, you can find that there. And you can always find me and everything I'm up to at lisamerrifield.com. So with that, I want to say thank you for being here. I hope this was helpful, and please let me know if you have questions or comments or thoughts or otherwise. Thanks so much.